Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101. Uh, it's NFL football week two, early games, post game show, and late games. Uh, well, pregame, we'll call it a update, so late games update show, which is a kind of a pregame show as well. Um, we got all the finals from the early games to talk about, and we'll get to those in just a second. And we're going to talk about the Browns and tomorrow night's game just a little bit. We'll talk about that. And so, but first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 Week 2 NFL Trivia question. Which two players uh, played played in both football and in the MLB? Uh, I will have the answer later in the podcast. Uh, we're going to go back and we're gonna talk about all. I'm gonna go over all of today's early game action right now. We're gonna do that first. So first the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 17-9 at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida. Uh, at excuse me, at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. Excuse me. And boy, this one very low scoring game today. It was not a high scoring game, uh, but um, but the Chiefs overcame a lot of mistakes to beat Jacksonville, and boy, in that fourth quarter, Harrison Butker came through with a 38 yard field goal to really give the Chiefs a cushion and get the win. So Jacksonville is going to have work to do. Uh, with them now being 1-1, as I got to give the game balls to the Chiefs. You got to give it to Patrick Mahomes. 20 of 49, 29 of 41 carries and attempts, 305 yards, two touchdowns, one interceptions. Isaiah Pacquiao, uh, 70 yards, 12 attempts, and Sky Moore, three receptions, 70 yards. And I took the Chiefs instead of my brother-in-law. And because Philadelphia won Thursday night over Minnesota, 34-28. Right, and that was that was one that we won on. The Atlanta Falcons, who trailed in this game in the game against Green Bay, came back and beat the Green Bay Packers by one. I don't know how you do that. 25-24 today at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Uh, And Kua kicked a game-winning field goal, kicked a field goal to give the he kicked a field goal. Uh, it was a 33-yard one, and it was good. And it was then I put it up 17-12. Actually, it was in the third. This is in the fourth. You kicked a 25-yard field goal, and it was I think with 1:01 left on the clock in the fourth, and it was good. And that's really what did that. That gave the Atlanta the win. And Green Bay had a chance. They had a lead, and they just blew it. They let it slip right through their fingers, so they fall to 1-1. Atlanta goes to 2-0 for the first time in a long time. And so I got to give credit to where credit is due. I got to give it to Atlanta. Uh, Desmond Ritter, 19 of 32 carries and attempts, one touchdown, one interception. Uh, Bijan Robinson, 19 attempts, 124 yards, and Drake London, 6 receptions, 67 yards, one touchdown. So Green Bay will have to have work to do for week 3. Uh, the LA Chargers, actually the Tennessee Titans, rather, beat the LA Chargers in overtime, 27-24. Oh, and I took Atlanta instead of my brother-in-law, so that was one that we lost on. So yeah, that was one that we lost on, and so that that was one that we lost on, and so that was one that we had lost on. So and Green Bay, just they had a chance, the Green Bay Packers, and so I'm gonna just give you a little. It was in the uh, fourth quarter. First, Green Atlanta scored a touchdown, and then and it was it was Ritter, Desmond Ritter, with a 6-yard touchdown, and that's supposed to give us 24-19. And then you kicked a 39-yard field goal, and it was 24-22. And then Atlanta got the ball back again, and then they scored. They kicked a field goal to win. It was a 25-yard field goal, and it was good. So Atlanta gets the win by the final score, 25-24. And I got to give. And I just told you who my players of that game were. So and so uh, we'll get back to this in just a moment. Right now, I want to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 Week 2 trivia NFL trivia question. Uh, which two players played in both football and MLB, Major League Baseball? And if you said Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson, you are correct. Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson both played uh, football in the NFL and baseball in Major League Baseball. I will have another trivia question on my next podcast. So stay tuned for that. Now, getting back to today's early games, the and then it went to overtime, and that's when the Titans kicked the field goal, and that's what won it for them in overtime. So, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Chicago Bears 27-17 today at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. And Chicago looked a little sluggish in this game. They fought 0-2. Tampa Bay goes to 2-0. And Tampa Bay scored a touchdown in the third. Baker Mayfield pass deep left to Evans for the 32-yard TD, and the extra point was good. Was 20-10 and at the end of the third quarter. And then the Bears did score one last touchdown. Justin Fields passed deep middle to Claypool for the 20-yard touchdown. It was 2017, but then Tampa Bay came back. Justin Fields pass straight middle intended for Herbert and intercepted by Barrett at the Chicago 4 and Barrett for 4 yards. And that was a touchdown by Chase by that was a touchdown by and the Chase McLaughlin's extra point was good, and it was 27-17. Uh, so I want to find out who scored that touchdown. It was uh, Claypool for the 20-yard touchdown. That's what it was. I was trying to figure out, and that basically that put uh, Tampa Bay up for good because then there were three interceptions with there's a two more, and that would do it. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they get the win today, and I got to give credit to where credit is due. My players of the game balls go to the Bucks. Uh, Baker Mayfield, 26 of 34 carries and attempts, 217 yards, one touchdown. Ron Rashid White, 17 attempts, 73 yards, one touchdown. And Mike Evans, 6 receptions, 171 yards, and one touchdown. And so, yeah, I got to get Bucks really held out in this game today. The Buffalo Bills just manhandled uh, the Oakland Raiders. Uh, they just manhandled the Oakland Raiders all over them today. 38-10 today at Bill Stadium at also it's Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, and the Bills really bounced back from season opening loss and so and boy, the Bills just never let up, and they were up 21-10 at halftime, and then 28-10 at the end of the third after Davis scored a touchdown, and then there was a field goal by Ferguson, and it was good, and it was a 29-yard one by Bass, and it was good. Excuse me. And then Harris up the middle for the 1-yard touchdown, and it was that's what the Raiders just struggled in this one today. They really just struggled, and they just struggled in this one today. And and uh, and I gotta tell you that the Raiders just could not keep up with the Bills today in this game. The Raiders just could not. And whatever chance the Raiders had to get back in this game ended 4 plays from scrimmage later when Milano jumped in front of Josh Jacobs to intercept Garoppolo's pass at midfield. And well, the Bills just took advantage of every Raiders mistake that they made. So I got to give the game balls to the Bills. Josh Allen, 31 of 37 carries and attempts, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Uh, James Cook, uh, 17 attempts, 123 yards, and Gabe Davis, 6 receptions, 92 yards, one touchdown. Uh, we're up to the Baltimore Ravens go to 2-0 as they beat the Cincinnati Bengals, who fall to 0-2, and they Baltimore beat them 27-24. It was a good game, but uh, Baltimore just had their number in the fourth quarter. But Cincinnati's always a second half team. They're going to get it together. But Baltimore, it was just their game today, and they were up 7-0 in the first quarter, and then Cincinnati tied it at 7, and it was a and so and then they kicked the field goal thanks to Tucker, and it was 10-7 for the Ravens, and then it was McPherson kicked the field goal for the Bengals, tied it at 10, and then it was Tucker for the 40-yard field goal, and it was good. It was 13-10, Baltimore at the half, and then uh, Lamar Jackson passed short middle to Mark Andrews for a 3-yard touchdown. Tucker's extra point is good. It was 20-10 in the third quarter, and then Burrows passed short left to Higgins for the 3-yard touchdown, and McPherson's first field goal was extra point was good, and it was 20-17. But Lamar Jackson passed deep right to Nelson Agholder for the 17-yard touchdown. That was his first touchdown catch of the season, and it was 27-17. And then Joe Burrow passed short right to T. Higgins for the 4-yard touchdown and then McPherson scored kicked the extra point, and it was good, and it was 27-24. And then McPherson, and then it was McPherson kicks from 65 yards from Cincinnati 35 to the end zone for a touchback. Edwards left guard to the Baltimore 27 for 2 yards, and then it's 2nd and 8. Duvernay right end to Baltimore 32 for 5 yards. Lamar Jackson scrambles right end to Baltimore 44 for 12 yards. Lamar Jackson left end to Baltimore 45 for 1 yard. Duvernay right end to Cincinnati 47 for 8 yards. 31 at Cincinnati for 7. Edwards up the middle to Cincinnati for a 2 for 5 yards. And Lamar Jackson just took a knee at the Cincinnati 43 for -1 yard. And nonetheless, the Baltimore Ravens go to 2-0, and I got to give the game balls to Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, 24 of 33 carries and attempts, 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gus Edwards, 10 attempts, 82 yards, 1 touchdown. Nelson Agholor, 5 receptions, 63 yards, 1 touchdown. The Seattle Seahawks beat the Detroit Lions in overtime, 37-31. And the Lions had a chance, but then Seattle tied it up in overtime and had a chance, but then Seattle got the ball back, and they scored first with a touchdown, and they get the win. And I have to give the game balls to the Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith, 32 of 41 carries and attempts, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think it's Tyler Lockett, 8 receptions, 59 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker III, 17 attempts, 43 yards, 2 touchdowns. Seattle goes to 1-1. Detroit is now 1-1 on the season. And the Indianapolis Colts, which is all over the Houston Texans today, 31-20, and the Texans had opportunities but could not do it. But Indianapolis just they just took advantage of this game. They just took this game by hand, and they they just had this game in hand. I think there was no way that the Texans were going to catch up, although they did have some chances. But I got to give it to the Colts again. Balls. Gardner Minshew, 19 of 23 carries and attempts, 171 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. Zach Moss, 88 yards, 18 attempts, one touchdown, and I think it was Michael Pittman, 8 receptions, 56 yards. And right now, with those early games, I am 5-4. Yeah, I'm 5-4, and so is my brother-in-law, Eric Hoyles. We're both 5-4 right now. The only two games that we don't agree on is the Broncos Commanders game and the Panthers Saints game tomorrow night. And all the rest we do agree on. With the late games, San Francisco and the Rams are tied at 10 at SoFi with 9:49 left to go in the second quarter. Arizona's up on the Giants 14-0. The Giants are up on the bounce back from that embarrassing 40-0 shutout last week. Dallas is up 7-0 on the Jets, and they're about to get their second quarter underway in Big D. And with 12 seconds left to go in the third, Denver's up on Washington 14-3. So we'll see how those games turn out. Now we'll talk about the Browns for a little bit. We will do that. Uh, the Browns take on the Pittsburgh Steelers tomorrow night on Monday Night Football at uh, uh, Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh. Cleveland Browns #1 wide receiver Amari Cooper injured his groin late in Saturday's practice and is questionable for Monday night's game at Pittsburgh. Coach Kevin Stefanski didn't have much information on Cooper, who underwent surgery to repair a core muscle injury during the offseason. Cooper was on the field during the portion of practice open to the media, Stefanski said. Cooper was taken inside for treatment by trainers before practice ended. Cooper left the field in the first half against the Bengals with an apparent knee injury, but said earlier this week he had just tweaked something and was fine. Cooper finished with 3 catches for 37 yards as the Browns won their first home opener since 2004 and back-to-back season openers for the first time since '93. Since the 93-94 season. The 29-year-old Cooper is a major part of Cleveland's offense attack, and not having him in Pittsburgh would be a huge blow to the Browns, who are 1-0 right now, who are looking to go to 2-0 for the first time in 20 years, and are coming off a 24-3 win in Week 1 over Cincinnati. But I think if Cooper does not play, I think Cedric Tillman will get some time, and Marquise Goodwin as well. So we'll see. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 NFL Week 2 early games, post-game show, late games update show. I'll be back with the late games post-game show once all the late games have concluded. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1, I'm done.